Dear God, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude for the beauty of this day and for the gift of life that you have granted each one of us here. Thank you for your unending goodness, your mercies that are renewed every day. Lord, we ask that you guide our steps today and forever, leading us on paths of peace, truth, and righteousness. Protect us from all harm and deliver us from every form of evil. Fill our hearts with your love, patience, and understanding to one another. In the precious name of Jesus, we humbly pray. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiging nagsasigananan, alam ng puso sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyagan ang magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit o bagaw, ay hinatang tudlang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may di magtitinig. Luman ang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
From the pride and unity, we now carry that same spirit into our shared commitment. Together, let us uphold our guiding principles as we recite the Cooperative Pledge. As a Filipino, I am and I believe in the cooperative. Alone, I am weak, but with others I am strong. So I commit myself to work and to cooperate for all to be prosperous. Harmony, industry, I will value. Cooperative affairs, I will attend. Responsibilities, I will assume. The cooperative philosophy I will live. One vision, one belief, one feeling in cooperativism, my life I pledge. So help me God. Grounded in the spirit of cooperativism we have just affirmed, we now look ahead to what inspires and directs us, our ANRU MPC vision and purpose. Vision: to be the preeminent multi-purpose cooperative in the Philippines. Purpose: to help improve the socio-economic well-being of our members and to provide economic opportunities to the community where we operate. With our vision and purpose guiding us, we now turn to the principles that shape how we act each day. Our ANRU MPC core values: collaboration, working as one. We believe that we are interdependent, open communication, integrity, good business ethics, delivering what we promise. Accountability: take personal accountability for our actions. Respect for others, acceptance and appreciation of diversity of ideas and beliefs.
Let me just formally start with a greeting, of course. Good afternoon, fellow cooperators. Maayong panlawa sa tanan, ugmang maayong hapon. Magandang hapon sa ating lahat. My name is Dave, and I'll be your facilitator for this learning session on mental health entitled Finding Steady Ground, Healing, Resilience, and Workplace Well-Being. Bago tayo magsimula sa ating learning session, nais ko munang i-shout out, of course, at batiin ang ating mga fellow cooperators and participants mula sa Luzon. Also to the participants from Visayas and Mindanao. Sa lahat ng participants natin sa Zoom, we also are live sa ating Facebook page. Naway ang lahat ay ligtas at nasa mabuting kalagayan. Well, sa gitna ng pagsubok at hamon na ating kinakaharap, mahalagang alagaan hindi lang ang ating pisikal na kalagayan, kundi pati ang ating mental at emosyonal na kalusugan sapagkat ito ay nagsisilbing pundasyon ng ating lakas at kabuuang kapakanan. Ang ating session ngayong araw ay isang pagkakataon upang pansamantalang huminto, magnilay at muling kumonekta sa ating mga sarili. Ito rin ay hindi pagkakataon upang matutukan mga praktikal na paraan upang ma-manage ang stress, pagpapatatag ng ating katatagan o yung tinatawag nating resilience, pagpapanatili ng positibong pananaw sa buhay at pagsuporta sa isa't isa tungo sa paglikha ng mas malusog at mas makataong lugar ng trabaho. Well, on behalf of Andrew MPC, naniniwala kami na ang ating pinakamalaking lakas ay hindi lang nasusukat sa ating mga personal na tagumpay, kundi higit sa lahat ay sa paraan ng ating pag-aaruga, pagtutulungan at pagbibigay suporta sa isa't isa. Ang kamakailang lindol sa General Santos at sa Davao Region ay nagsilbing paalaala na sa panahon ng pagsubok at hindi inaasahang pangyayari, mas mahalaga ang pagkakaisa, malasakit at pagdamay sa kapwa. Kaya naman, hinihikayat namin ang lahat na harapin ang sesyon na ito ng may bukas na isipan, bukas na puso, at kahandaang matuto. Inaanyayahan namin kayo maging aktibo. We have to be really active, especially sa ating question and answer mamaya. So naway magsilbing inspirasyon ang webinar na ito upang matagpuan natin ang matatag na pundasyon sa gitna ng mga hamon. So during the discussion, kung meron man kayong mga questions, mga katanungan, let's use the chat box or you can click on the raise hand icon so we can recognize you and get your thoughts, your experience from the recent incidents natin ngayon. Okay, so muli, welcome and let's begin with our journey toward greater well-being together. Now, upang gabayan tayo sa learning session na ito, aking ipapakilala ang ating speaker ngayong hapon. All right, so our speaker for this afternoon is a registered psychometrician. She is a certified counselor and certified mental health first responder. So best talaga, akma sa ating topic for this afternoon. She has nearly 8 years of experience in mental health field, provides individual and group counseling for adults facing depression, anxiety, trauma, and related concerns. More strategically, she uses evidence-based approaches, including CBT, DBT, SFBT, and positive psychology. She has a strong background in crisis intervention and mental wellness check-ins. Kaya naman, bigyan natin ng virtual clap si Ms. Maridy G. Movillion. Good afternoon, Ms. Mads.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Happy Friday. Thank you for that introduction, Sir Dave. Again, my name is Maridy. You can call me Miss Mads all throughout the session. Before I start, just wanted to check if you can hear me clearly. If you can see me, thumbs up if yes.
Loud and clear, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you for those reactions. Allow me to share my screen. Okay, give me one moment here. Let me know if you can see my screen now. Thumbs up if yes. Are you able to see my screen now? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
great. Thank you for those reactions. Okay, Thank you for that. Like what Sir Dave mentioned, today we will be focusing on this topic and discussion, finding steady ground, healing, resilience, and workplace well-being. Today we will be focusing on how we can support your mental health, how we can cope after a disaster, mental preparedness, physical preparedness, and recovery after a disaster, specifically earthquake. Okay, by the way, I have two monitors here, but this is my camera. With this other monitor, I can see your faces, your chats as well. Before I start, I was informed that our participants are from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, pero I just wanted to check in with those who are from Mindanao, General Santos. I see people who are turning on their video, their camera. Kamusta po kayo? How's your situation right now after the earthquake, recent earthquake? I believe it has been 3 weeks since the disaster. Kamusta po? How's your family? How are you in the workplace? You can unmute yourselves. You can use the chat box. Do we have participants who were injured during the earthquake? Meron po ba?
So fortunately, wala naman, Miss Mads. But siguro on behalf for the General Santos team, can we have Miss Shane?
Okay, let's have Mr. Shake.
Or how about anyone from the group?
Yeah. Sige, anyone? Just wanted to check in if we are all safe during those situations, during that episode. Our families are safe. Wala namang na-injured or homes that were affected. Okay, and then are we in the office during that time or in our houses? Yeah, we can unmute ourselves, use our chat box to answer yes or no. Yan, para naman I can see your experiences, I can know your experiences as well. And I have participants here turning on their videos.
Baka mahina lang yung signal nila. But let me just answer your question, Ms. Mads. Well, when the earthquake happened, may ilang staff naman na sa office and marami pa rin naman yung nasa kanilang mga houses. But fortunately, they're safe. And yun lang, the trauma, yun talaga yung nakwento naman nila sa amin.
Yes.
The experience kasi medyo, and still now, the aftershocks, yun yung pinaka naging concern talaga. So, we hope yun nga, with your expertise, Ms. Mads, we
Yeah.
can have.
I see. Thank you for that, Sir Dave. I just wanted to tell everyone that all your feelings, emotions are valid for sure. There are still participants here who experience anxiety. There's worry, there's fear, or even feeling overwhelmed, especially if we are in the office or outside. There's a fear na there's an episode again of aftershocks or even earthquake. But just wanted to let you know all your feelings are valid. And later on, I have practical strategies on how we can overcome or recover from these disasters. Okay? Ayan. I do have an icebreaker here and few activities later on. Just a question, true or false, or multiple choice question. I hope we all participate. Let us use our chat box if you cannot unmute yourselves. So just a one word check in for everyone. If you could describe how you've been feeling since the earthquake 3 weeks ago, using one word, what will it be? I have few examples here of emotions you might or may experience: being grateful, anxious, relieved. Are you worried? Are you hopeful, tired, stressed, resilient, or calm? Just one word, how you've been feeling since the earthquake. So just one word. Can you share with us? Can you share with me? How are you feeling since the earthquake happened? Do we have people here or participants who have fear, anxiety, worries? Yan. Sir Christian, how are you feeling?
As of now, feeling tired po.
Feeling tired?
Yes,
Physically,
ma'am. Ah,
emotionally, physically.
ah, physically, yes, ma'am.
Ayan, feeling tired. We are all feeling tired, especially no, end na ng work week natin. For sure, mararamdaman na lahat ng pagod after that. Yan, stress. How about for the others? May tired, may stress. Let's see. Other participants. Jo, Are you here with us? Or Miss Cecil, how are you feeling since the earthquake? Just a one word. Worried, yan, may stress, may worried. Usually negative emotions since the earthquake happened. That's valid. That's acceptable. That's okay. Yan, thank you for those answers. Another check-in with everyone. Just a temp check since this is the end of the work week. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? 1 as very stressed and then 10 feeling very well. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today, especially Friday na makakapag-rest na tayo ng weekend? On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? Can you just give me one number? Ayan, I see here an answer. Junie says 8. Yan. Ako personally, I feel 8. Feeling better, manageable. It has been an overwhelming week, especially with work. Pero excited for the weekend. I see here from ANRU Jensen 6. Yan. For others, numbers that you can give. Do we have participants here who are feeling below 5 or 6? Meron po ba? Sir Dave, how are you feeling today?
Well, kaya probably 8.
8.
8 kasi like what you mentioned, Miss Muds, I'm looking forward for the weekend so we can have a good rest.
Yes.
And of course, busy week nga siya. But still, titingnan natin, we were able to complete some of the tasks. So may fulfillment. And so I have it at 8.
8. Okay, great. Thank you for that, Sir Dave. Yes, please let us all look forward for the weekend to rest, spend time with our family to take care of ourselves and then tap ourselves in our shoulders na okay, you did great, you did well this week. Okay? Thank you for those who answered and participated. Now, let's dive in with our discussion today. These are the objective and goals for our topic. By the end of this session, participants will be able to recognize the common emotional, physical, cognitive, and behavioral reactions following a disaster, especially or specifically the earthquake. Understand how earthquakes can affect your mental health, your well being, develop confidence through preparedness and resilience building strategies. Next is apply the practical coping techniques to manage your stress, your anxiety. Diba? We have participants here who are experiencing stress, worries, anxiety. And then lastly, when to identify when professional support may be beneficial for you. Okay? So dito iikot yung discussion natin for today. Recovering after a disaster, first let us understand what are our emotional reactions during that episode, that earthquake. So, experiencing a disaster can trigger a wide range of emotions and reactions. Understanding these responses can help you manage your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors more effectively. It's very important that we are aware, we recognize that these are my thoughts right now, these are my feelings, my behaviors, so that we can know how we can manage it, how we can control it. That's why I asked earlier, no, I check in with you, ano yung emotions natin, ano yung feelings natin from since 3 weeks ago and up to present. It's very important that we are aware of these things, okay, the thoughts, emotions, your behaviors, so that we can manage this effectively. Earthquakes are sudden, unexpected, and often overwhelming events. For sure, no, we haven't predicted this. Now we step out of our house to go to work. Tapos biglang, I believe this happened during the morning, no? So these are sudden, unexpected. People did not expect na an episode of earthquake will happen that day. So even when there are no physical injuries, we are grateful and fortunate that our participants right now did not experience any physical injuries, no, or their houses are not affected. Individuals may still experience emotional distress. Okay, and strong emotional reactions are normal and are often part of the recovery process. Okay, so don't suppress your feelings, your emotions during this episode, or even up to now, no, even if meron pa rin tayo natitirang fear or worry or anxiety from that event, it is part of the recovery, no, you acknowledging those thoughts, those feelings. Recognizing these reactions can help individuals regain a sense of control and begin healing. Okay, so recovery and healing begins with you being aware and recognizing your reactions. Okay, why earthquake affect our mental health? One of the many reasons is because earthquake is a threat to our personal safety. Second, it damages our homes or property. There is also a fear of aftershocks or another episode of earthquake, disruption of your daily routines. For sure, a lot of us, your workloads, your school works, for instance, or your responsibilities are being affected because of what happened, because of the reactions that you are experiencing. And also, there is a concern against safety for your family, for your friends, for your loved ones. These are the few reasons why earthquakes affect our emotional or mental health. Okay, not only the physical health. Understanding earthquake anxiety. So there is a concept or term called earthquake anxiety. This is the ongoing fear or worry related to future earthquakes and aftershocks. We have earthquake anxiety. And again, it is normal to experience fear during and after an earthquake. We cannot avoid that. We cannot remove that fear. Fear is a protection for our well-being. Now, when there is a danger, that is our protection. Now, you have to protect yourself from those situations. Worry about future aftershocks, uncertainty regarding your personal safety, and heightened alertness and stress. Few examples. Few examples here. Are you feeling nervous when entering tall buildings? For sure, some of us, diba, we still have this feeling of being nervous when entering tall buildings, especially kapag meron tayong worry na baka may another earthquake, another episode na mangyari, tapos we are unable to go out or exit immediately, no, from buildings. There is also panicking when objects shake slightly, 'di ba? We became these praning na or paranoid na parang pag nag-shake lang yung chair natin, we panic, and then constantly monitoring earthquake updates, and then avoiding places perceived as unsafe. Again, you have these worries na if I am in this area or this place, am I safe? 'Di ba? Makakapag-exit ba ako, mapoprotect ko ba yung sarili ko? So these are a few examples of earthquake anxiety. Let me know if we have participants here who are still feeling or are experiencing earthquake anxiety. Yan. And then, important reminder for everyone, these reactions are common following significant earthquakes and generally decrease over time as safety and routine are restored. Okay, don't worry because when your safety and your routine are restored, mawawala naman tong earthquake anxiety. Makaka-move on naman tayo from this. Okay, so that is our goal, to recover from these disasters. Okay, true or false question for everyone. Just a recall question. Strong emotional reactions after an earthquake are abnormal and mean something is wrong with you. Is this a true or false? True, thumbs up. False, thumbs down. Strong emotional reactions after an earthquake are abnormal and mean something is wrong with you. What do you think? True or false? Just a thumbs up if true, thumbs down if false. Strong emotional reactions after an earthquake are abnormal and mean something is wrong with you. Is it abnormal, and does it mean something is wrong with you when you have these emotional reactions after an earthquake? Yan. I see here IT support says false. Okay, let's see what's the correct answer. Ayan. Another one, Miss Cecil, false. It's false. Yeah, that's the correct answer. So explanation again, emotional reactions like fear, anxiety, sadness, worries, feeling overwhelmed are normal after a disaster. Again, don't suppress those emotions and feelings. It is normal. It's not abnormal. It doesn't mean something is wrong with you when you have these emotional reactions. Okay, thank you for those answers. Common reactions after a disaster, aside from emotional, let's touch base on other parts of your being that might be or may be affected when you are experiencing or experience disaster. So common reaction after a disaster, what you may experience, emotional reactions, again, there's anxiety, fear, sadness, anger, or irritability. There's a feeling of being overwhelmed or helpless, you not being able to control your situation right now. You are feeling helpless. There's also mood changes or emotional ups and downs. You would feel na parang I'm doing well, I'm okay. Pero when you remember that day, that experience, bababa ulit yung mood natin, no? So these are the common emotional reactions that you might experience or may experience after that disaster. Second, physical reactions. So there's fatigue, low energy. Sir Christian earlier mentioned that there's physical tiredness, no? One of the reasons why you have these physical reactions is again because of the mental and emotional effect na there's constant worry, constant stress from that situation, especially kapag related siya sa you feeling tired, no, low energy. There's also these headaches or stomach discomfort. Usually, yung stress natin, mafe-feel natin dito sa sentido and also at the back of our head. And then yung fear and anxiety natin, mafe-feel natin sa gut or stomach. So there's stomach discomfort, changes in our appetite as well. People may develop poor appetite or mawawalan sila ng gana with eating again because of stress, no? Sometimes hindi natin mapapansin na it has been affecting our sleep, our appetite, our mood, no? So those things, physical reactions. There is also cognitive reactions. So difficulty concentrating. If you have participants here who are having a difficulty concentrating, focusing again because of stress, because of anxiety, worries, there are also repeated thoughts or memories of the event. Now, recalling that event that day can also cause us stress, trouble making decisions as well. No? Even if you might think na parang simple decision lang naman to or madaling situation lang to, some people may find it hard to arrive in a specific decision. And then lastly, behavioral reactions. There are people who would withdraw socially. They will isolate themselves to keep them safe. There are also changes in sleeping patterns. People would not sleep well because of constant worry about a disaster or another episode of earthquake might happen and they are unable to protect themselves. There is also increased conflict with family members or co-workers again because of the changes in your emotional in the emotional aspect na when there are changes with your mood, diba, with how you think, how your thoughts, your behaviors, this could result in a conflict or miscommunication with people around you. So these are the few reactions that you may experience following a disaster, but remember that these reactions are common and often temporary responses to a stressful event. Okay? And these are will be restored as times goes by. Okay, and we also have this brain's alarm system. It's called stress responses. We have three stress responses or brain's alarm system. So when danger is perceived, the brain automatically activates survival responses designed to protect us. For sure, some of you have heard this. Now we have three stress responses. The first one is the fight mode. Second is the flight mode, and lastly, freeze or froze mode. So this is our brain's automatic alarm system. Usually it activates when there is a danger. The first one is the fight mode. So when you are in the fight mode, respond in this way, you attempt to confront the threat head on. So for instance, there is a disaster, there is a problem, your first instinct or response is to solve the situation, 'di ba? Or even confront it. Some people may be impulsive or might get impulsive, aggressive during this situation. An example is becoming argumentative or unusually aggressive during a stressful situation. So you would notice na following a disaster, mas umiinit agad yung ulo natin. We are more aggressive, impulsive because of it. Second, flight mode. So there is the attempting to escape the threat, especially during the earthquake. There is a feeling an urgent need to leave a building immediately after sensing a tremor. So for sure, some of us, this is an emergency drill. Ang automatic response natin is to fly away, no? To exit the building, di ba? To go on a open space to protect ourselves, flight mode. And then lastly, freeze mode, temporarily becoming unable to act. There are also those individuals who don't know what to do, or sometimes they do know what to do, but because of these perceived danger, it's hard for them to act or to respond to keep themselves safe. So, example here, standing still and feeling unable to move during the earthquake, no? Nagfi-freeze yung mind nila, hindi nila alam kung ano yung dapat gawin. So, these are the three stress responses or brain's alarm system. We have fight, flight, and freeze. Let me know kung ano yung responses nyo during that earthquake. Is it an automatic for us to fly away, to flight now from that situation? Do we have people who freeze or froze, and do we have individual who fight or become aggressive or impulsive during that situation? Okay, so these reactions are automatic, normal, and intended to us to keep us safe during threatening situation. Again, these are automatic responses. Okay, fight, flight, and freeze mode. So again, multiple choice question for everyone. Which of the following is not a common reaction after a disaster? A, difficulty concentrating. B, increased energy and constant happiness. C, changes in your sleep patterns. Or D, feeling overwhelmed. Which of the following is not a common reaction after a disaster? Diba? We have physical, emotional, cognitive, um, what is emotional, physical, cognitive, behavioral reactions, A, B, C, or D, which is not a common reaction after a disaster here. And let's use our chat box to answer A, B, C, or D. Yan. I'm seeing answers here. Letter B. Okay, the correct answer, increased energy and constant happiness. Thank you for those responses. Correct. It's B. This is not a common reaction after a disaster. No, no participants or no individuals here would feel high energy or constant happiness following a disaster. And then all items here are the common reactions. Okay, thank you for those responses. Now let's dive in and touch base on the mental preparedness for earthquakes. So for sure, you've heard of this, staying calm, safe, and ready during and after an earthquake. So while earthquakes cannot be predicted, this is sudden, no, unexpected, we can prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally. So this is a great tool for us whenever there is a disaster. We know how to prepare not only physically but also mentally so that we know what to do. Okay, so mental preparedness help us reduce our panic during those situations, improve our decision making, so we know what we should do during those situations, increase our confidence as well, and then lastly, to support our recovery after a disaster. So mental preparedness for earthquakes. Shifting from fear to preparedness, focusing on what you can control. So I have here the things that you cannot and can control during earthquake. The things that you cannot control are actually external factors, and the things that you can control are our responses. Okay, you yourself, your responses are the things that you cannot control. So focus on you can and cannot control and let go of the things you cannot control. For instance, the things that you cannot control on those situations are when earthquakes occur. No, since earthquakes are sudden, unpredictable, we cannot control when will these episodes will happen. Also the magnitude, no, or strength ng earthquake, aftershocks, and also other people's reaction. We cannot control these things. We cannot dictate people na to do these things or react in this way lang, because these are beyond our control or external factors. And the things that we can control are our responses. The first one is our emergency plans, joining or knowing the safety drills when there is an episode of earthquake, you staying calm, breathing, and then having a positive or more manageable mindset, and then personal preparedness. Later on, we will talk about these things as well. So remember, when there is a disaster, focus on what you can control, meaning your responses to those situations. Okay, so you cannot control the earthquake, but you can control how you prepare and respond to it. Okay, like what I've mentioned, we have four pillars of mental preparedness here. The first one is knowledge reduces your fear. Second, preparedness builds confidence. Emotional regulation saves lives. And then regular drills builds automatic responses. Number one, for sure, we all know this since we've joined or we are being educated during emergency drills, fire, earthquake drills. They all teaches us to practice these things, to drop, cover, and hold on. So when you feel na there's a tremor or shakiness, diba, on your building, so the first thing that we should do is to drop, find something to cover ourselves. A tip from PVOX is that we don't drop both of our legs, diba? Maintain or keep one leg on a 90 degrees position so that when we need to move, 'di ba, there's a buwelo, makakabuwelo tayo to move or makatayo agad. And then hold on to that object or to that table na you are covering yourself with. So knowledge reduces fear. So this is something, an automatic response or solution for us when you are in that situation is to drop, to cover, and hold on. Second, hold on to that object that you that protecting you. Second is you having an emergency contact, especially with your children, with your family member. Make sure also that you have this communication plan with them. If there's, wag naman po sana, pero if there's a next or future disasters that will happen, make sure na you have this communication plan with them. Especially kapag may mga disaster, nawawala ng electricity, ng signal. So designate a meeting place as well, a safe place for everyone to be in during those disasters, and then prepare an emergency go bag. Okay. Third, emotional regulation saves lives. Practice deep breathing, diba? Especially when you are in a panic mode, remember to breathe. Second, grounding techniques, and then positive self-talk. Later on, I have few exercises for you to learn on how you can practice this regulation, emotional regulation. And then positive self-talk, it's you telling yourself na you are in a safe place right now, there is no earthquake right now, especially no kapag may flashback ulit of those episodes. Okay, and then lastly, regular drills builds automatic responses. Again, you knowing the correct information about these disasters could build an automatic response for us. So regular practice helps the brain respond calmly and quickly during emergencies. So please do join mga emergency drills for earthquakes, for fire, so we know what to do. Okay, so these are four pillars of mental preparedness. Okay. Staying calm during and after an earthquake. Again, these are the do's and don'ts earthquake safety when there is another episode. So please don't panic as much as possible. Stay calm. No, deep breathing, know what to do, diba? Remember those information na you gain from those drills, from these webinars. So drop take cover and hold on. Again, a tip for everyone is dapat yung isang leg natin naka 90 degrees para may buwelo if we need to move. No, don't drop both of your legs and then hold on to that table or object protecting you. Make sure it's stable as well. And then if you can, turn off the gas, electricity, even after the earthquake to keep the house safe as well. And then find a way out, go to the emergency exits, no, para makapag-exit tayo agad sa building. Please don't take elevator since nawawalan po ng electricity, and don't drive immediately. Or if you are driving during the episode, no, go out of the your car, no, and then look for an open space para you keep yourself safe. Okay, so these are the earthquake safety do's and don'ts that we can practice. Okay, another question for everyone, multiple choice question. Which is part of mental preparedness for earthquakes here? So A, ignoring emergency plans. B, practicing drop, cover, and hold on. C, avoiding drills to reduce fear. D, waiting for others to prepare. Which is part of mental preparedness for earthquakes here? A, B, C, or D? And let's see. Use our chat box to answer these questions. Which is part of mental preparedness for earthquakes here? Okay, I'm seeing letter B. Yes, the correct answer is practicing drop, cover, and hold on. So when I was working in Manila before, in our building, there's like 4 floors, and I am on the second floor. The psych department is on the second floor. And this was back in, if I can still remember it correctly, 2021 or 2022. And nagkaroon ng episode of earthquake there. And then I've noticed na some individuals do not really practice this, drop, cover, and hold on. What I've noticed is that some of them, their responses is naka-freeze, or they don't know what to do. They are waiting for people to exit the building, no, to cover or to drop on their tables. So it's also important na we have assigned individuals or even leaders na when you feel or felt na parang may tremors sa building, people will, or a leader or an individual will lead the group na okay, we have to exit the building, go under your tables to protect yourselves, no, because some people doesn't have that automatic response na they have to drop, they have to cover, they have to hold on to something, or they have to exit the building. So if you can assign a team member, a team lead, or authorized person na okay, this is what we need to do when there is a disaster. Okay, so practicing drop, cover, and hold on is part of the mental preparedness. Building resilience together, things that we can practice, do, especially when there are disasters. But first, let's talk about and let's touch base on what resilience is. So this is the ability to adapt, recover, and continue functioning despite challenges and adversity. For sure, you've heard of people saying that Filipinos are very resilient. We are able to bounce back from difficult situations, from disasters, especially no mas common sa atin yung floods, yung earthquake and other things. Now Filipinos can still smile, can still find good things about those situations. That's why they think or they see that we are very resilient, and that's true. Now we can still recover from those situations. And here are the characteristics of a resilient individual. So you being able to adapt to your situation, or being adaptability. Second, optimism, looking on the brighter side, having a good mindset about the situation. We also have this problem solving skills. Whenever there is a problem, we know how to control, how to manage it. And then the next is strong social connections. We have this bayanihan trait within us. No, no. When someone is affected, when someone needs help, 'di ba, we reach out to them. And then lastly, emotional awareness. You being able to recognize, being aware of your situation, right now or your feelings right now. So these are the characteristic of an resilient or of a resilient individual. Okay, an example here is an employee may feel anxious after the earthquake but continues to work, uses healthy coping strategies, and seeks support when needed. So, this is an example of a resilient employee or person. When we say here continues working, it does not necessarily mean na after the episode you go back to working. Pero it means na you can still function a few days after the episode. No, you still can go back to your normal function at work, at school, even at your household. And you being able or your ability to use healthy coping strategies, no, not the unhealthy way, and you seeking for support, reaching out for support or help when needed. No, hindi natin sinosuppress, hindi natin sinasarili or ina-isolate yung sarili natin, ina-isolate yung sarili natin from people or our support system. Okay, remember resiliency, what recovery looks like. So recovery, it's not you forgetting what happened. So we don't advocate for that. Nakalimutan natin kung anong nangyari or being completely unaffected about this. But recovery means you adapting to change, accepting na a disaster happened and I can or will be able to adapt to changes in my environment and my situation right now. Recovery also means you healing over time. It takes time, but let us be aware and work on ourselves as well. Na okay, these are my intentions or my intentions on how I can heal myself or recover from those situations, regaining a sense of safety as well, no, and then returning to daily activities and routines. You going back to your normal functioning and routines helps a lot with recovery. Okay, and then taking care of yourself, the practical strategies that you can do anywhere, anytime to help you recover from those disaster. Again, this doesn't have to be expensive. No, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You just need it just needs to be sustainable. Again, something that we can do anywhere, anytime. First one, as you acknowledging your feelings, us being aware of our feelings, our emotions, so allowing yourself to feel and express your emotions. So some people likes to express themselves with their support system, no, para na-debrief sila from the situation, from what happened, acknowledging your feelings, validating your feelings, no, not suppressing it. Second, be patient with yourself. So again, recovery takes time. Everyone copes differently at their own pace. Now we cannot force people to move on or to recover immediately. Kanya-kanya tayo ng pacing. So remember to be patient with yourself. Maintaining daily routines, again, going back to your normal functioning and daily routines helps with recovery. So consistent routines provide a sense of stability and control. So again, going back to your normal functioning will makes us or have this feeling of or a sense of stability and control within us, because it's you saying to yourself na okay, this is a normal day again for me. There is no disaster, there is no threat in my personal area or space right now. So maintaining daily routines, and then lastly, don't forget to take care of your physical health as well, because mental and physically goes hand in hand, no? So pag affected ang mental health natin, ma-affect din ang physical health, vice versa. So remember to consume nutritious meals. It has to be kailangan merong vegetables, may fruits, no? And then refrain from consuming too much instant food or mga fast food. And then staying hydrated. If you need to drink water, please do so. Quality sleep and exercise as well. So be intentional with your movements. No, it also helps us to ground ourselves para mawala din yung stress natin physically moving or intentional with our physical movements. And quality sleep, no. So doctors always recommend 7 to 8 hours of sleep para makapag-recover yung body and mind natin. Especially this weekend, please be intentional with your rest, with your sleep. Okay? Managing anxiety through breathing, like what I've mentioned, to reduce panic during those situations, or even up to now, if you are feeling stressed and worried about those memories, you can try this simple breathing exercise. So, inhaling for 4 seconds through our nose, holding it for 2 seconds, and exhaling through our mouth for 6 seconds. This is called the 4-2-6. Again, inhaling in our nose, holding for 2 seconds, and then exhaling through our mouth. Okay, so this is a simple breathing exercise that you can practice or do whenever you feel anxious, worried, or even stressed. So you can repeat this several times until you feel relaxed or calm. You can also set a timer for 2 minutes or count for 10 deep breaths, no, to keep ourselves relaxed and feel calm. So these are the few healthy coping strategies and breathing exercises that you can do to manage anxiety and stress. Another one, taking care of yourself also means limiting media exposure. So, excessive disaster related news can increase our anxiety, reinforce our fear, or delay emotional recovery, especially if these are unreliable sources. No, mas tumataas yung fear natin or your anxiety natin kapag fake news, no, edited videos na hindi naman talaga nangyari. So, make sure that you stay informed through credible sources while staying healthy limits on media consumption. Or if you feel like na you are consuming too much social media or even too much news about the disaster, you can pause muna and then stop, 'di ba? Using or consuming those news para to lessen our anxiety and fear as well. So limiting media exposure helps us to take care of ourselves following a disaster. Okay, and then next is staying connected. Our support system or social support is very important, especially during these times of difficulty. So, social support is one of the strongest protective factors during recovery. So, a support system helps a lot for our healing and recovery. So, the ways that you can stay connected is talking with your trusted family members, friends, co-workers, colleagues, so that we can express ourselves, we can debrief as well, no? Or even with your colleagues, your family members, pag-usapan natin kung ano yung nangyari during that time. Tapos think of ways on how you can manage those situations. And then share experiences and feelings, offer support to others if you need to, or if you've noticed, for instance, a coworker, a colleague seems off or too affected because of that disaster, offer support, ask them how you can help them, and then avoid isolation or withdrawing socially or from your support system. Okay, so these are the ways you can stay connected. Make sure that you have a strong social support system, especially in these challenging times. Okay. Healing is easier when we support one another, no? No man is an island nga po, no? So we need to reach out for help, no? Wag natin sarilihin yung problems natin. Okay? Another question for everyone, multiple choice. Which of the following is a healthy coping strategy after a disaster? A, isolating yourself completely. B, ignoring sleep and rest. C, talking to trusted people about your feelings. Or D, constantly checking news update. Which of the following is a healthy coping strategy after a disaster? A, B, C, or D? What do you think? Healthy coping strategy after a disaster. Let's see your answers. Is it A, B, C, or D? Which of the following here is a healthy coping strategy? Is it you isolating, ignoring your sleep and rest, talking to your trusted people, or constantly checking news update? What do you think? Sige, let me call on someone. Miss Angelica, what do you think? Which of the following is a healthy coping strategy here? A, B, C, or D? Okay, I see an answer here. Letter C. Okay, talking to trusted people or your support system about your feelings is a healthy way on a healthy coping strategy or practices. And then lastly, when to seek for additional help. So it's okay to ask for support, especially to professional medical professionals. Consider seeking professional help if your distress continues for several weeks or worsens. It has been 3 weeks since the incident happened. So if that distress worsens or umabot siya up to few months, please do seek help for professional, no, for doctors. When there is anxiety, if your anxiety, sadness, or fear interferes with your daily functioning, if their sleep difficulties becomes severe as well, or even if you rely on alcohol or substances to manage your stress, and then lastly, if you have thoughts of hurting or ending your life, please do seek help or for professional help. If check po ito lahat, okay, seek for professional help. Okay, but remember, seeking help is a sign of strength, not a weakness. Most people recover with time, support, and healthy coping strategies, but professional help is available when additional support is needed. Even if we practice all the healthy coping strategies, pero the distress or other factors are still affecting us, a medical professional will be able to help you no reduce those distress or even those signs and symptoms. Okay, again, I believe this is the last question for everyone. Seeking professional help for ongoing stress is a sign of weakness. Is this a true or false? Seeking professional help for ongoing distress is a sign of weakness. True or false? True or false? Yan, thumbs up, false. So seeking professional help, it's not a sign of weakness. This is a strength. It's you acknowledging that you need help, that you need to address what you are going through right now. So seeking support is healthy and responsible step toward recovery. So that is the end of my presentation. Again, the earthquake may have shaken the ground beneath us, but this does not define our future. Through support, preparedness, and resilience, we can move forward together. Recovery is a process, not an event. Remember to be patient with yourself and others. Staying informed, prepared, connected, and compassionate, we can navigate challenges together and emerge stronger as individuals and as a community. Something that I'd like to leave everyone is to be patient with yourself and other people. Okay. Thank you everyone for participating, for joining. Let me know if you have questions, feedbacks, or clarifications. I can still have or give few minutes to answer your questions. Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Miss Mads. Uh, Everybody, if we can give Miss Mads a virtual clap, can we have it? Journey, yan. Thank you. And of course, Miss Mads, thank you for that very informative discussion, especially on mental health. We really need it aside dun sa, sa pressure with work, but it's more of yung the members that were affected during the earthquake in General Santos and Davao, of course. So once again, thank you, Ms. Mads. Everybody, if you do have questions, feel free to use the chat box, or if you want to ask personally that question, you can raise your hand so we can recognize you and ask directly that question to Ms. Mads. Anybody? Anyone from the office, from head office? Kakahiyaan pa tayo. Tayo lang. Ayan. Or anyone from Jensen. I see Almera. Si Junie? Michelle? From the group? Or yung nakaset up natin dyan sa may satellite office sa Jensen? Anyone who would like to ask that question? Since wala pa, sige, ako ang mauna. Actually, may mga questions din, Ms. Mads, coming from the registration link na na-send ko naman from the participants. One of the questions na na-mention nila or they wanted to ask, since of course, nandiyan yung work, but especially if dun sa Jensen, how can families support one another emotionally during the recovery process?
Top of my head, sir, is to communicate with one another. It's very important that we communicate with our children, with our parents, with our family member, our thoughts and feelings about the disaster. It's called debriefing, no? Just sharing
Mhm.
what you go through, your feelings and emotions. And then, so that everyone can also know na, ay, ito pala yung na-experience ko right now. So we are not that critical or judgmental na bakit ganito yung action or behavior ng isang tao. So number one is to communicate, and moving forward is like what I've mentioned earlier, it helps a lot if we have this communication plan, if we have emergency go bags or practices that we can do, no. So that's one way on how we can support one another, to communicate with everyone, to recognize everyone's feelings, everyone's emotions, what they are going through, and then moving forward what they can do during these disasters.
Thank you, Ms. Miles. Totally agree. Especially when the earthquake happened, syempre we were worried doon sa mga kasama namin sa Jensen. So yung
Mhm.
communication talaga, yun yung pinaka-vital. Aside
Mhm.
from knowing, hoping talaga walang anything bad happen to our members. So yun, yung
Yeah.
feeling din na syempre nai-stress din tayo even wala tayo dun sa area since we're part of the Anil family. Additional question doon, Miss Mads. You mentioned doon sa children din eh.
Mhm.
Kasi marami naman sa mga, especially sa staff, yung may mga anak. Ang question niya related doon is what is or are the best ways to talk to children who may be frightened by the earthquake? So it's more of sa children naman. Ano yung proper approach sa kanila?
Yeah, I think the first one is soothing them first, no, acknowledging again. I keep on going back, no, to the debriefing side of the when there is a challenging, when there is a disaster. It helps a lot when we debrief our children of what happened, educate them na this is a sudden, unexpected event, 'di ba? In our that can happen. Tapos educating them na these are the things that you can do during that when there is that disaster, especially kapag mag-isa lang sa bahay. So again, debriefing, tapos teaching them on what to do during those situations, suiting them, no, hindi natin sila kailangan madaliin. um be patient with them, especially kapag may na-retain pa na trauma reactions or signs, no, of earthquake. For sure, may nakita akong videos sa school ng mga bata na nagsisigawan during flag ceremony. So it helps a lot if we constantly check in on them, follow up on them as well na kung kamusta na sila. If we adults needs that constant check-in, what more pa yung children natin. So it helps a lot. Now we check in with them, kamusta sila since the event, or ask them, no, kung moving forward, ano na yung pwede nilang gawin when there is another episode, wag naman po sana, of this disaster. So again, debriefing, suiting them, no, teaching them on what ways or what to do during those disasters can help our children, no, kahit bata pa sila, no, it helps a lot when we teach them the drop, cover, and hold, no. It's very important then yung teachers natin or our parents, they lead those children na, okay, you have to drop. I saw that video na, okay, drop lahat, nasa open area tayo. May mga bata na nagtatakbuhan kasi maybe they don't know what to do, or yung immediate reaction is to run. Pero kudos to that teacher na encourage everyone, please drop, no, drop your legs or just cover your head, helps a lot. So those are the things or suggestions for our parents or family members to guide our children.
Thank you, Miss Mads. Ito, from the person na nag-experience ng trauma and going to to their children. Now, balik tayo sa work naman, Ms. Mads. What signs should a supervisor watch for a staff or an employee who may be struggling emotionally after the disaster? Ano yung
One
need niyang i-watch out?
Okay, that's a good question, sir. One of the signs is kapag na-observe natin na hindi yun yung normal functioning ng isang employee or ng isang tao, mapapansin nila na, ay, etong tao na to, before very social naman, pero ngayon, ina-isolate yung sarili or even they withdraw from their support system. They don't talk to people. You would also notice with their mood na nagiging irritable, more worried, more stressed. So those are the few signs that we can immediately notice when there are changes with their normal functioning, and also when we talk to them, different then on how they respond. For instance, if they don't have enough sleep, rest, even their appetite changes, we would also notice that. So for our supervisors or our leads, if you notice na a team member or employees may be off or something feels off, reach out to them and ask them how you can help them. That helps a lot. No, or just by listening to them, how they are feeling, what they are going through, it helps a lot na ma-verbalize nila yon. Because most of the time, pag we are too overwhelmed with our emotions, with our thoughts alone, nalulunod tayo eh. We don't know how to respond healthily. So it helps when we verbalize. So again, for our leads or supervisors, please do reach out pag something seems off. So those are the few signs and symptoms, sir, na we can immediately detect or see if there are effects no of that disaster for a certain individual.
Thank you, Ms. Mads. Just to share, may napanood din actually akong video, yung question na siguro cliche na rin na, kumusta? Na parang it's a simple question, pero it opens up a lot sa isang, especially sa taong may mga pinagdadaanan. Like, yung mga kasanayan natin na, ay, baka may pinagdadaanan. That's yung mga phrase natin mga Filipino. Intindihin natin. But baka may napapansin na kasi tayo. That's the reason why sinasabi natin may pinagdadaanan. Pero the next step siguro na we need to do is to ask the question, kumusta? Have a seat with that person and ask the question, kumusta? So,
Yes.
yan.
Tama, sir. And I just wanted to add something to that na it's our usual expression na no on how we greet other people na kamusta. Some people would not really respond truthfully on how they are doing because parang greeting lang naman siya eh. But there is this study na it takes three how are yous or kamusta before a person really opens up. And if you are really intentional and genuine about asking how that person is doing, maybe you can ask that person in a safe space, no? Wag naman during a group setting, tas kakamustahin mo, that person will not really open up. So if you are really interested to reach out to that person, maybe during lunch break sa pantry, kapag alone lang kayo, ask that person how they are doing. And then let's be specific with our questions na is something affecting you, is something going on with you right now, and then ask that person how you can help them. No, don't give immediate advices, especially if they didn't ask for it. No, during that time, just be there, listen to them, and then ask them specific questions. The advices, the recommendations have there's a right time for that. And there's a right dialogue for that. Pero a simple kamusta and how you can help that person helps a lot. Ayun po.
Thank you, Ms. Mads. We have a question here. Makakatulong po ba kung palaging balik-balikan sa pakikipag-usap yung nangyari sa isang nakaranas ng disaster? Or mas maigi i-lessen at magsabi ng mga magbibigay ng kalakasan at makakabilis ng recovery?
There's a yes and no answer to that. I advocate for people to communicate what they've gone through and how they are doing right now. It helps for some people. It helps them move forward. Kapag nare-release nila, no, parang it's us transferring those emotions, feelings through talking, through writing, through journaling. Pero there are also people na if they keep on talking about it, mas natitrigger sila. So maybe check, test the waters if that person gets triggered or ask that person for permission. Would you like to talk about this situation, this incident, or allowing that person time and space until they are ready to talk about it. Some people are more open. Some people takes time before they can really talk about it. So there's a yes and no answer for that. Pero it helps a lot if you ask that person a permission. No, tapos let's be sensitive. Kapag nakita mo na na-trigger na tong tao na to, okay, you have to stop. You have to stop talking about it. And then maybe you can follow up or check in with that person later on. Diba? Just a simple kamusta na or kamusta ka? I hope you're doing well.
Yes, I agree. We
Yan
have
po.
another question, Ms. Mads. Can we easily determine if the person is having an anxiety? Or just wanted to add, since this is stating yung anxiety, for everybody's appreciation, what's the main difference then, Ms. Mads, with stress versus anxiety?
Stress is our normal response when there is a difficult or challenging situation. So part na siya ng emotions, responses natin. Pero it can be, what do you call this, managed or resolved immediately, especially when that stressors are removed, no, or na-resolve na. Okay, remember, being stressed is a normal response. Being anxious naman or anxiety means excessive worrying about the future or about the situation that you cannot control. Okay, and we cannot really diagnose or determine a person having an anxiety or anxiety disorder by just being or feeling worried. Again, worrying is a normal response when there is a difficult and stressful situation again. Pero if it became severe, constant na siya, it lasts for 3 to 6 months, it can or become anxiety. So those are the few definitions or differences of anxiety, of stress, or worry. But the main difference is that anxiety is excessive, something that you cannot really control or catch yourself to stop. Okay, stressed, worry, normal responses. Kapag yung stressors natin or triggers are removed or resolves, nawawala yung emotions na yun. Pero when it's excessive, it's persistent, it became an anxiety, something that we cannot control. That's why when we are feeling anxious, or there's anxiety or depression, depressed, we need to seek help, no, para ma-address. Because being an anxious, there are set of signs and symptoms now we need to address. And sometimes it needs therapy, it needs medication. Okay. So those are the few differences and definitions of anxiety, stress, and worry. I hope I answered that question and mas nalinawan yung mga tao
Very
about
clear,
it.
Ms. Mads.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
We have another question here. This is actually good. This is from Junie, also from Jensen.
Mhm.
Just like we pack physical survival gear for emergencies, is there an equivalent first aid kit for our mental and emotional well-being?
First aid kit. I am trained for mental health responder, and one way or one tool that we can what do you call this, respond on those people who were affected by the disaster is really debriefing, just talking about their emotions, their feelings, checking up on them if they are injured, how you can help them. So those are the things, diba? When it comes naman to physical injury, the respondents will check in with your wounds if there are any injuries, things that they need to address or bloods that they need na attention. With mental health naman, it's more of tackling how are you doing mentally, emotionally, discussing that, verbalizing that, para in a way naririnig natin yung sarili natin para we can address those effects because of that disaster. So that's one way, debriefing, talking about it, and then moving forward, what we can do, no, how we can manage it, what are the healthy coping strategies. Actually, dun siya umiikot, sir, yung
Mhm.
first aid for mental health, debriefing, and
Nice.
then moving forward, recovery, coping strategies.
Thank you. Miss Mads, we have another question here. This is from a past traumatic experience. One of the member mentioned na this person has a traumatic experience. Ngayon, na feeling niya, there's the feeling na na-overcome ko na to after years na nangyari ito. She can actually talk about it na to other person and feeling niya okay na siya. But may nagti-trigger pa din as per that person na parang bigla na lang, parang, uy, naalala ko siya. Tapos bumabalik na naman yung feeling na yung may sakit pa din, that traumatic experience, parang bumabalik. It still lingers doon sa person. Even years na siya nangyari.
Okay. This is not a context of disaster and also this
Not,
is more of the
yes po.
traumatic experience. I just
Yes po.
wanted to say na healing and recovery takes time. It doesn't mean na when you get triggered, back to zero ka. So healing and recovery, it's not linear. Sometimes it's up and down na you would feel na you're at the peak, na you're doing well, you're okay, naka-move on ka na, naka-recover ka na. If you are in that peak, you sometimes it's unexpected and sudden na matitrigger ka. And that is okay as long as you know how to cope and manage those situations. Kahit pababa ka na ulit, you can still peak, 'di ba? You can still feel okay. It's just an obstacle or even sometimes it's a challenge for you na okay ka na ba talaga? 'Di ba naka-recover or heal ka na ba talaga? So triggers are okay and it doesn't mean na back to zero ka. Just remember that healing and recovery takes time. It's not linear. Sometimes there are still challenges and obstacles that we need to go through but it does not necessarily mean na back to zero ka or you're not healing. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents. And then
Thank you,
yeah,
Miss
it
Mads.
takes time.
It
And then
takes time.
it strengthens us, no? Kapag wala tayong triggers, pag wala tayong problems and issues in life, how do we improve or how do we grow, no? So, hindi mo siya mararamdaman talaga yung peak ng happiness mo if there are no challenges, if there are no stressors. It helps us learn something about ourselves. It helps us grow. So, life is not linear, may ups and downs talaga. Ganun po siya.
Actually, Miss Mads, I have, ayan, in connection doon, kasi, of course, yun nga, sabi niyo po, yung stages pa rin naman siya for the journey doon sa recovery or healing. But when is the time na pwedeng masasabi ng person na, I think I need a professional, professional, ang tamang term ba?
Help.
Help, yeah.
Ah,
Professional help. Kasi yun nga, nandun pa rin siya and
yeah.
yung may stages. Yun,
Yes,
I
yes.
think that's the
I
question.
get
Miss
you.
Nance.
Mhm. If your symptoms came back, pag bumalik yung
Mm.
symptoms na tinatry mong i-heal before and it's something na hindi na siya ma-manage no usual practices mo, please do seek out for help. Especially there are 4 factors or symptoms na you have to take a look at. Your functioning is affected. You have thoughts of hurting yourself or ending your life. Um your distress, the duration, mas humahaba na siya. You getting triggered lasts for a week, for 2 weeks to a month, and then lastly, if there is so the symptoms, the duration, the distress, and danger. So that's 4 factors na you should consider na you need to seek help. And even if you feel like na you need to seek help, even if you haven't met those 4 factors, please do seek help para we can address this immediately, para hindi na din siya lumala. Okay, if you need to, please do seek out for help. But those are 4 factors that you can consider na, okay, it's the time for me to seek help now or address this again with a mental health professional.
Thank you, Ms. Mads. Last na, sorry, in
Last,
connection
okay,
pa
sir,
din.
sige po.
In connections, you mentioned kasi na, Ms. Mads, we need to seek help na. For everybody din, ano yung institution na pwede nilang they can call directly? Of course, we have to consider din yung if it's sa government, so it's gonna be for free. Yung mga ganun na pwede nilang lapitan agad na I need help. Sino yung una naming lalapitan?
First off, I have a list of mental health resources, facilities, hospital, clinics. If you want me to send that, there's Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao resources that you can look for. Pero what I'm familiar with sa Manila, Metro Manila area, NCMH, PGH, those are free consultations, pero it takes time.
Okay.
Since madami yung naghahanap ng free consultations, you have to book for an appointment, you have to register to their website. Those are the few institutions that I know na who provide free consultations for everyone. And then for private clinics, we have these there is Kalinga, Empower, other things. Pero I have a list, sir, na I can provide you. Tapos, I believe with our HMO, they can do reimbursement as well. So if we don't have the time to seek for free consultation, we can do reimbursement and then schedule to a private clinics or hospitals for that.
Yep.
Pero if you want me to send that to you, let me know your email, sir, para you can
Yes.
give it to your employees from Luzon, Mindanao, Visayas.
Yeah, we can share. Definitely.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, Ms.
Sir, I just wanted to add, sir, I saw a question here from Junie. First aid kit for them, no, without a responder. Practicing breathing exercises helps a lot, especially if you don't have an opportunity to talk to someone immediately. So, a first aid that they can do is just breathe, reminding themselves to breathe. That helps a lot.
Okay.
And then call a support system, ask for help. That could help as well. And just to add to that first aid.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mads. All right, so I think all of the questions were answered naman, Ms. Mads, and it was really a good discussion, a good learning session, a good refresher para sa ating lahat. So kung wala ng question, we would like to thank everybody for your active participation pa din dito and taking the time to attend this learning session. On behalf of our Chairman and CEO, Sir Arnold Rahajo, and our SVP and CEO, Sir Hernani Tidrakulan, taus-puso namin inaasahan ng ating talakayan ngayong araw ay nagbigay sa inyo ng mahalagang kaalaman, praktikal na paraan upang mapangalagaan ang ating mental at emosyonal na kalusugan. Naway magsilbing paalaala ang webinar na ito na ang tunay na katatagan ay hindi nangangahulugang hindi tayo napapagod o nahihirapan, kundi ang pagkakaroon ng tapang na kilalanin ang ating mga nararamdaman. Humingi ng suporta kung kinakailangan at patuloy na bumangon sa kabila ng mga pagsubok. Alright, so once again, thank you, Ms. Mads. Thank you, everybody from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This has been your facilitator, Dave, nag-iiwang with a message na way patuloy nating matagpuan ang matatag na pundasyon ng paghilom at kagalingan saan man tayo dalhin ng buhay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Miss
Thank
Mads.